So I want you to take a look at this picture. This is a client's living room. It was covered in paper amongst other things, but mostly paper. And you may be thinking a couple of things. One, like, where do you even begin? And I'm going to show you exactly where we begun. And the other thing you might be thinking is, what kind of supplies did you buy? Like, she probably needed a ton of supplies in order to make any sort of transformation. That is not true. And that is what this video is about. I'm going to share with you today stories from 4 clients for whom we created kind of like emergency filing systems or emergency containers when we didn't have them, right? So a lot of times my clients feel like they have to have just the right containers, just the right supplies in order to make any progress. That is not true. I want you to be able to make progress today, this second, as soon as this video is done, with exactly what you've got in your home. And I'm about to show you how to do that. So let's go back to this first picture, right? What did we do? Well, what I do is my eyes usually just like dart around the space looking for something we can use. Sometimes people have products that are being underutilized or not utilized at all or used completely wrong, and we're able to like mine the space for organizing supplies that they have paid money for. And when we don't have those, which is fairly often, we have to resort to a plan B. And the plan B is like use the boxes we have, even if they're just like dingy cardboard boxes, because usually those work beautifully and they tell us the exact products to buy. So this box, you can see, is a de facto file box, and all I did was just like take out my pocket knife and cut the flaps off. I do this all the time, and there are more examples to come in this video of that. So without running to the store, without doing anything, we were able to start this filing system for her that minute, that red hot minute. How cool is that? And it's not a permanent system. These aren't permanent systems. They are stepping stones. They are stepping stones to the next right decision, which eventually will show you what you need to buy, if anything. So let's move on to the next one. The next picture you're looking at is similar to the first one, totally different client, somebody I am still working with right now. And this is a client who's going through a transition in her life. Like, she's got a lot to do, a lot to think about that doesn't always involve organizing her living room. Like, her life is busy, it's stressful for a number of personal reasons, and things just get thrown. So she, of course, had no idea where to begin, which is why I came into her life, came into her home. And, you know, the first session, I didn't really know where to begin either. And that's perfectly normal. So the first session, we're just kind of like throwing things out, creating groups. But the second session is when we created what you were looking at here. So this is a small coffee table that's just like pushed up against the wall in her living room, and I saw it as an opportunity. Together we started seeing patterns of what she could not put away in the closet, like what she couldn't hide, you know, in the other room or in a drawer, closet, anything. And what we agreed that she needed to put her hands on throughout the week were these 3 categories: outgoing mail, active to-dos and events, and things for other people, like things to give or ship to friends and family. And notice that the 2 boxes on the ends are just like found, but the middle one is something that she bought once upon a time. But we've got a shoe box on the left and a big old cardboard box on the right. And for what she needed that day, these were perfect. I actually preferred these than going out to buy something else, because this is, again, a temporary system. It's going to evolve. I don't want you to spend money on today's problem when today's problem is going to change. Like, it's a moving target. The more you see patterns and the more you group like with like, and the more you throw things away. So I don't want you spending money on the wrong stuff when the right stuff, as temporary as it may be, might be right under your nose. Okay, so I actually haven't seen her since we created this. I'm going to see her in a couple days. And if this system worked, we may multiply it. We may add more kind of like drop boxes with what she has. If she loves this, then we may turn these into more permanent solutions. But this is, again, an emergency organizing system created with emergency supplies, meaning what she had on hand. Okay, let's look at this next picture. This next picture is also a project I am working on exactly right now. Like, I was in this room this morning and it has come so far. We just had to dissect a lot of boxes that were very densely packed. A lot of it went out. Naturally, a lot of it we're keeping. For as many boxes as she had, like, she didn't have organizing supplies that were perfect. So this loose photos and CDs box is one that I obviously created also just from cutting the flaps off a cardboard box. And it was the perfect size for her loose photos. So now going forward, when she's spending money and, measuring for a more permanent box, we're going to use this box with these dimensions as a guide, right? So now you can see how they're truly stepping stones and they help you make better decisions with what to buy. This next box is one that I had in stock. Like, it was in my own recycling bin and I was going to go see her one day and I thought that is the perfect box for these business cards that don't have a home. So the business cards in her case are not going to be in her life much longer. She has somebody who's going to scan them, turn those into a database. So we only needed a temporary solution. You can see we ran out of the nice clear ones on the right, but this temporary box on the left was a perfect solution. She didn't need to go out and buy anything for this. When this box that stacks, in this case we kept the lid on, was just right. And this third photo, also from the same office, is just so cool because this box, look at the dimensions. It fits perfectly, like it dropped perfectly into her drawer. We probably could not have gone out and measured and placed an order for a box any better than this. And this is one that actually she might end up keeping long-term just because the dimensions are absolutely perfect. And naturally we kept the lid on it because we're dropping it in a drawer and it needs a lid. So those are 3 examples from one office of just using what we had. Some of these are going to evolve, and the scrapbooking one I just showed you is probably going to stay exactly that way for years to come. All right, this next collection of 2 photos is from a photo organizing project I had with a long-term client. We spent many sessions going through hers and her mother's photos, and she already had these great like plastic stacking drawers, but we needed dividers within them. And turns out shoe boxes were the perfect divider. They were just the right width for the photo packets and just the right height for her drawer. And honestly, this is probably going to become a permanent solution. This is something I did years ago, but for somebody I still see, and she's still using this because it's great. Like, it just so happens that the shoe boxes were perfect and they were free. How cool is that? And then this last picture is an example of something I do with a lot of clients. It's like I sort things and I leave them in temporary sorted boxes like this, but like with little love notes, little breadcrumbs. So as you can see, I explained this to her before I left, but just so nobody forgot, we know that Kacy sorted it June 19th. I kept one of each type of mail like she asked, and it needs further sorting. So sometimes when you're sorting and you need to take a break for a couple days, couple weeks, it's very obvious what's in that box, but your future self might not know what that is. Like, we forget stuff, right? So it's perfectly reasonable to make a nice label for something that, again, is just like still in transition and might disappear and evolve into something better down the road. And I cut flaps off of boxes all the time in order to do this, just to like give us containers and give us boundaries where we didn't have any before. So one big lesson I want you to take away from this that I haven't mentioned yet is that this is not a reason, not an excuse to start hoarding cardboard boxes. Please don't. Armed with this knowledge, it is still perfectly fine for you to go and recycle and get rid of all of your empty boxes, because guess what? More are going to come, right? In this day and age, we've got boxes coming in, if not every day, then every week. So please do not use this as a reason to just like, I'm gonna keep all these boxes because Kacy said that they work great as organizing supplies. Like, if you already have a stash and there's a certain size you think you need and you have it, by all means keep some within reason, keywords, within reason. But this is not your permission slip to keep every box that you have. Just trust that if you let go of them, that on the day when you need a container, that the right box will appear. It always does. It's amazing. It's like organizing magic that I get to bear witness to all the time. So these are just some, emergency systems, some temporary systems, perhaps even some permanent systems that cost nothing, but it's not even about the cost. I just want you to know that you can use exactly what you have in order to make progress today, right now. I do it all the time. I'm armed with 23 some years of organizing experience, and still one of my favorite organizing supplies is a knife. So I can turn crappy beat up boxes into perfect little organizing products. So with that, please subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. It's the perfect way to show your appreciation for these lessons. And leave a comment if this is something helpful. Leave a question if you've got a question about this or anything else. And again, I am Kacy Paide of the Inspired Office. I've been a professional organizer focusing on offices and paper since 2001, and I just love opening the photo album and sharing lessons with you like this. I hope I'll see you again. Thanks again.